We have quite a number of things that we do which integrate within each other. We have a poultry section of mainly broilers. These are birds for meat purposes. We have a plantation of bananas. We have a plantation of coffee. We have a forest up there, meaning that we're also environmentally conscious. And also we do other seasonal crops as the season dictates. Now all these crops and animals on the farm integrate together in that the resources or the raw materials that come from one enterprise can easily go into another enterprise. And this kind of saves us on the costs of things that we should have bought when we can actually have them. For example, our chicken give us the manure, which we put in our plantations, in the coffee and the bananas and the mangoes. And so therefore the cost that we would have used on buying the manure is put into other things. When we harvest the coffee, the husks that we get after processing are what we use for our birds as litter, which means that we don't have to buy a lot of litter when we have our coffee here. And so that litter is the one that now turns into manure and goes into our matoke, goes into our coffee. And then when we sell the coffee, when we sell the matoke, when we sell the mangoes, then the money that comes out of that can contribute towards the broiler project in terms of food, in terms of paying salaries for the workers, or medicines and all that. So it is an integrated farm that tries to capture all these enterprises for the benefit of the farm, but the community that is with us. Where we are seated is also our training wing, where we carry out training, mostly now with our local villagers here. Because we also believe that it's not good for a person to be in a community and you're the only person that is well off. It's like being in a class and you're the only bright student in that class. It means that either the teachers are not helping the bright student to help the other students to also catch up, or the brighter student is actually sitting on their knowledge and they're not sharing. So we don't want that kind of attitude here. We try as much as possible to teach the community around us. And every month we do have tailor-made courses for the farmers, or the local farmers here. We find out what we want to learn, because we are also, like when we are walking around, we see the gardens, how we are performing and all that. And so we identify areas where we take them through and help them to improve in their farming practices. And I'm happy to inform you that it is taking shape. People do come and learn, and we hope that we will be seeing plantations that are as good as ours. We see projects of broilers or layers in the community, and in that we will have the community grow together and farm. I am particularly happy about the theme of this camp, which is all about value addition and opportunities that are within the agricultural value chain linkage. Like Dr. mentioned, when we were growing up, agriculture was by the way. What is it agriculture? You drop it at senior 2 and do where they are at. And it would be unheard of for a child to tell their parents that I want to go and do an agriculture course. So it would be like, but of all courses. The irony of that is that we always eat food at home, we eat food at school, and you wonder now, where does this food come from when we are not encouraging the people to study agriculture and then practice it. These days things have changed. It is very common to find people, I'll call them the cool people, the ones that have done engineering, medicine, architecture, those cool courses, you know them, the ones that you all want to do. It is now uncool for those people to be seated around their social tables and not mention that I have a farm of, I have a big farm, I have cows, I have goats, I have a coffee plantation. You are not cool if you don't have that together with that cool course that you did or the cool profession that you have. So it is very, very important that we actually take up this course or these activities. You don't have to actually do it as a course if you don't want, but have something that you can now do in terms of agriculture. The opportunities are really, really many. Back then we only knew food from the garden to the table, mostly. I do my beans, I do my base, I take to the kitchen, then we eat. These days as technology advances, we have a lot of opportunities along the chain in all agricultural enterprises. I'll give you an example. For instance, using our broilers here, we do have, I'll just maybe show it here. I don't think I have time. But this is just an illustration of how the value chain in our agricultural enterprises. And you will notice that it's a triangle, and we have the base as the largest part. Now that is also where most of the activities take place. The farmers, the crop producers, the animal producers. That is where we have like the heart or the engine of the chain. Where these people are not, then we don't have any activity going upwards. So the opportunities that are here down, where we have the producers, whom I've also called the feeders, is that you can engage in the real agricultural activities like rearing the animals or growing the plants, but you can also engage in things like being an input supplier, being an advisor, an advisory agent, the people who do extension. You can also do crop health or animal health, where you sell the drugs or the herbicides and pesticides. You can also do science and tech. Now, for people who are going to be good biologists or chemists, this is where you come in to advise on what crop varieties or what animal breeds that can be used. So it's not all about, you know, having a hoe or having a panga or something and going into the garden and working, but we have so many other opportunities that we can embrace to also participate in agriculture. Right above the producers, we have what we call the processors. Now these take the agricultural bit a little bit, a notch a bit high. They only don't stop at harvesting and eating. We have people who are now specialized in processing of the things that we make. If I'm growing coffee, I may not have the capacity to do the processing that is required to have the final coffee Nescafe that you take or the chocolate that you enjoy. But there could be someone at this level who actually has the technique and the machinery to add value to this coffee, okay? And so there is also an opportunity in there that you will have people, or you can actually decide to specialize in processing a certain agricultural product. Coffee, matoke, the layers, the broilers, milk to make yogurt or powdered milk, and all that. But we also have the people who are in culinary, who now also add value to our crops or animal products through cooking. And so that's why now the hotel people come in and the restaurants and all that. And then right above that we have the marketeers, or the people who are in charge of now marketing these products. So you may not have the land maybe to do any project at home, but you could be a very good marketeer, someone who can actually go into the markets and identify where we have a potential market for our beans or our matoke, come back to the producer and tell them where this market is. Of course, they make a lot of money, and these people here, because they are not yet well trained or that, most of them are more of middlemen, not true marketeers, and so they know where these markets are. So me, I'm here suffering with my coffee, the dry season, pests, what, and then the guy comes and tells you, you know what, I know where the coffee can be sold, but I need a commission if you need that market, okay? So for them, that's where they specialize. But they're also contributing in the chain, because if the market is not there, then what you're producing here has nowhere to go. So this is also an actor, and also that is a potential area where we can participate in ensuring that our agriculture activities go on. And then of course we have the final person, who is the consumer, and I think the most important of the pyramid, because if I produce and I don't have anyone that is going to eat, then I'm producing for nothing. So this person here is also very important, and we are all consumers. First of all, I would encourage that if we have a farm, or at school or at home, be the first customer. Okay? We have an issue of eggs here, where we produce a lot of eggs, and then we have them, like the amount of eggs that are eaten in the country is so low. Not so many people eat eggs, okay? And so maybe that's why even there's not a lot of demand, and when people do produce their eggs, then they sell them very cheaply because there's no demand, and so there are so much of the market. But imagine if every Ugandan were to eat at least a tray or 2 trays of eggs in the country, we wouldn't have anything to even export, okay? So most of our eggs are exported to Kenya, to Rwanda, to Somalia, Sudan, and that is not good because it means that we are not supporting our own enterprises to actually grow and become better. So I put these arrows here. As you go up the pyramid, the value increases. Okay? You started with just a coffee bean, but as you go up, you'll meet someone who is doing a cappuccino, or doing chocolate, or doing Nescafe, or all that. So he has already improved the bean seed of the coffee into something that can be consumed. And so the higher you go, the better the product becomes, but also the more money you're able to get. Okay? And then you will also notice that money actually flows downwards. But money comes from up here, going down. Different from the what? From the charcoal. This is more expensive than that. But because people don't know this and they think this is too expensive, because this costs 50,000. One chicken costs 50,000. One pot costs maybe 2,000. So to a layman, when you tell them that this chicken is 50,000, that's a lot of money. How many cigarettes are these? 30. I can't afford that. Then they go in for what? Now the calculation comes from the energy source you're using. When you use charcoal, you spend much more money than when you use a what? A briquette. So why I'm telling you this is that you're running this thing as an enterprise and you're looking at profit. Okay? So whatever little money you save during the production cycle is going to give you much greater profit. So someone who uses, in our experience, because we've used this before, in this setting, I'm easily going to use over 600,000 worth of charcoal. Yet in this setting, I'm going to use about 200 or 150,000 worth of briquettes. One briquette costs about 1,500 shillings, 1,700, but it's going to light for about 6 to 8 hours. 6 to 8 hours, I've already turned this pot like 3 times. Okay? And you're putting the charcoal worth 5,000 in this pot. So in the short run, this is expensive. In the long run, it is much cheaper. So we put enough stoves here to make sure that the heat is enough for the birds, especially for the first 3 days, because that's when they need that heat, so that they don't get other issues. We keep all the windows closed between the first 3 days. You see the polythene bags and the polythene papers that are there are down completely between the first 3 days. They don't go up. This curtain is all closed in, so that all the heat that is generated helps the chicken to do what? To grow. Now that helps them to eat food, to drink water, and to have a normal living. Where the heat is too low, they will get cold. When they get cold, they will not eat. Because now they're going to come and start congregating together to seek heat from each other. And so they will not eat the food. They will not grow to the required growth standards. Because when you bring it in at one day, it's about 30 to 40 grams. By the first week, you expect it to be at least 120